Isolation day 118, Tuesday the 14th of July. I hope you're all well and you're looking after yourselves. What I wanted to talk to you about tonight is CGMs. Now, I use the Enlite Medtronic CGM, and as I understand it, that's the older option. I've never really been presented with any other options, but there is a Guardian sensor. I don't really know how that's any different. As I say, I haven't really been presented with any other options. What I do is I self-fund the Enlite sensor, and it costs £210 for 5 of them. So you get 5 in a pack, and each of them lasts 6 days. So in theory, it's a month for £210. What I also do try to do, which strictly speaking isn't the correct thing to do and isn't the advice that Medtronic provide for you, is I try to reload them. So I will take the transmitter off at the end of the 6 days when the sensor expires. I will recharge the transmitter, I will re-plug it in, and I will see if it will work for another few days. Mainly as a bit of a cost-saving tool, but also as a bit of an experiment. I know people that are using it twice, maybe even 3 times, but I find that the sensor, when you try and use it a second time, it's always out of sync. It never really is as accurate as it should be. So let me show you the graph, and let me show you what my blood sugars were doing yesterday, and you can make your own mind up. So not fantastic here. This is where the pump ran out the middle of the morning, and I left it overnight, and you can see I restarted it here, and it went low and suspended, and low and low and low and suspended, and then went high. So it was a bit of a challenging day, but that was what the CGM was telling me. Now if we have a look at what my blood sugars were telling me, well, it's a bit better, isn't it? You know, it's a bit of a better day. That feels a lot better when you read it like that. Yes, granted, it went up to 8.8, but even 8.8, the funny thing is, and this is also where the problem lies. That was telling me 8.8. The sensor was telling me nothing like 8.8, even though you can see, I think I took this 10:30. 10:30. The sensor was telling me it was about 7ish, not even that. Yeah, so that's the issue that I'm facing. It's always a little bit challenging to use these sensors again, and I have no experience of Dexcom or any of the other sensors, and whether you can or even would use them more than the once. But certainly with Medtronic, I would suggest that people don't, to be honest. So I ripped it off. I decided to call it a day with that sensor, and I'll be putting the sensor back on Thursday the 16th of July. Yeah, so overall, the interesting part was the pump was suspended for 4 hours and 34 minutes. And even though it was suspended for that amount of time, you see, not bad, not bad. So there is, Lisa, and I know this was your point, there is some justification to have the CGM on, because when it suspends, it does prevent you going too low. Although, according to the sensor, it didn't. So it's an interesting one, isn't it? It's not very straightforward. I think that's the lowest average daily basal we've seen, though, since the start of this entire process. 11.6 units in a day. That's madness. So half a unit an hour, really. Yeah, very, very low. And that's, I mean, we can see this. The little grey red skulls here are suspension. So it was suspended for a period of time within that hour. And you can see I certainly ate plenty. You know, it's a big day carb-wise, 257 grams. So I'm pretty happy with that. So as I say, I'm going to put the sensor back on tomorrow, and we'll see how we go for another week of using the sensor. And let's see if the amount of time that I'm in auto suspend. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to start tracking my blood glucose reading alongside my sensor reading. Okay, and I'm going to show them together to you guys and see how accurate the Medtronic sensor is. And I know it's always has a bit of a teething issue in the first day, but I'm going to track it and see, and as I say, ask you the question, because if you guys have got experience of other CGMs, I'd be really interested to hear about it. If you've got any questions about CGM, or certainly the Medtronic CGM, or anything that you're seeing on these reports, any advice that you've got, any sort of pointers for me, I'll be more than happy to have a read of those. So feel free to leave a comment for me. I hope you're all well. Look after yourselves. I will catch up with you tomorrow.